Sharpie for every time somebody saw carpy. Been sitting down here almost every day for years. I've come up with all these songs down here. I write in my journal and I play this guitar. I was just sitting down here and I saw this weird, there are all these coots. See all those coots out there? Well, I saw something roll, and I swear to God it was the size of that boat. And I'd never seen anything like it. I don't know what it was. And then it rolled again. I thought my eyes were just, something was wrong with my eyes, and I cleared my eyes like that, and I looked again, and it rolled again. And all those coots just spread out. They bolted. It was as though they were just terrified.
I was rowing along on Town Lake one day, and I don't know what it was, but it looked like a submerged rowing skull. I mean, you know, and it came up, and luckily it just glanced off of me. I mean, maybe it was asleep. Maybe it was just kind of cruising along, you know, on autopilot or something, but luckily it just glanced me, because if it had hit me directly, that would have been the end of me.
I'm very familiar with Town Lake, Lady Bird Lake, and I photographed the reflection of downtown all the time. So this one night I was setting up my tripod in the water, and all of a sudden something grazed my shin and knocked my tripod down, and it startled me so much I jumped out of the water and I looked, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing, but there was a fish or something with a head about this big.
I was talking to my friend Bill Oliver, who's down here all the time with this Texas River School, and there was talk with them, and like they'd seen this thing grow from about 8 feet to whatever it is now, maybe 15, 18 feet over the last 10, 12 years.
I looked out there this morning, I couldn't believe it. It was one of the biggest fish I've ever seen in my life. I recognized it, of course, as a native carp, but it came right out of the water.
The guys I fish with, we used to fish down around Longhorn Dam, and they've seen him down there. They used to see him down there all the time. Now, I don't know that it's true, but they say what he really liked to eat was chicken fried steak, if you can believe that. And I never heard of that, never heard of anything like it.
First of all, I think if you see that fish out there, get out of the water, because that thing could be a real hazard. I think carps are vegetarians, so I don't think we have to worry about that part of it, but they could sure knock you around a bit.
It had an ugly face, you know. It kind of had little, I want to say whiskers. I don't know. It was creepy looking.
It was right after sunset, so it was kind of dark, and he looked at me, and then he just slowly swam off and disappeared in Lady Bird Lake. And it must have been, I don't know, 15, 18 feet. And it really scared me to death. Well, I thought it was a myth. But then all of a sudden this happened to me, and I'm a believer. I mean, I didn't get a picture because my camera was in the water, and but I know what I saw.
I mean, I've seen an orca whale before up in Vancouver, and it wasn't anything much smaller than that.
When I was further up the lake, right about where Barton Creek comes in, a big pecan tree had fallen right into the lake, and I'm sitting there fishing, and this squirrel comes down the tree trunk right to the edge of the water, and he's sitting there eating the pecan. And then the water broke, and a huge splash, and that's when I saw this huge carp. And it was the clearest time I ever saw him, and he was bigger than my boat. I suppose he was 15 or 20 feet long, and I could have sat in his mouth. He jumped over that log, and he just grabbed that squirrel right off the log, and the squirrel disappeared. Pulled him in the water. The water was boiling, it was splashing, his tail kept flopping out. And then the surface of the water broke again, and the carp stuck his head out, and he put another pecan on top of the log right at the edge of the water.
One of these days, one of those guys is going to get it. That's all I can tell you. That isn't going to be what he's yelling.
Yeah, I'm always aware that he's out there, but he doesn't really bother me, because, you know, it's a big lake. It's a big lake.
And I know a few of my friends have seen this big fish, and now the secret's out.
It's kind of like the Marfa lights. Sometimes you see them, and sometimes you don't.